Hello there. Let's talk about the tactical games. What it is, what it isn't, and what you need to show up. So, the tactical games in a oversimplified version is just firearms and fitness. It's a shooting competition with a decent amount of physicality that's been introduced into it to add to the difficulty to the shooting competition. I've been doing it for a little over 2 years. It is a 2-day event. If you're going to the full tactical games, they also have 1-day skirmishes. That's the main difference between the two. If you go to the 2-day event, you're going to have 3 stages each day. With the introduction of the aggregate, you are going to have that side stage or floater stage, or however you want to look at it. On the skirmishes, I've seen some of the skirmishes do 3 stages, and I've seen some do 4 stages. I don't think they do any floater stages, but they're all ran independently, so really that's up to the match director of whoever's putting on that skirmish. What you can expect for a tactical games event. 1, the gear is going to be homogeneous through the 2-day event or the 1-day event. You got to have a plate carrier, 15 pounds for men, 12 pounds for women. That has to be slick. The easiest way to explain it is your plate carrier and your plates by themselves with nothing else is going to weigh either that 15 pounds or that 12 pounds. That's it. Now, if you show up and it weighs more than that, obviously you're going to be fine, but that's a personal choice. After that, you're going to have a handgun that's going to be in a common caliber of 9, 40, or 45. Your rifle needs to be either in .223 or .300 blackout. Those are the 2 calibers that are offered and are accepted. Recently, they did open it up to where you can run an AK variant. So if you want to run an AK in .223, or if you have some magical unicorn that's an AK that's in 300 blackout, I guess you could run that too. That one I don't know exists, but hey, as soon as I say it doesn't exist, someone's gonna be like, I got one. No steel core ammunition, and that's basically to save the plates, so the steel plates if they're using them. And so that's the rule. So some people want to know why, and they say, why can't I run this? Well, that's why. When running your rifle, you need to have one of 3 muzzle devices. You either have an A2 bird cage, you have a 3-prong or a 4-prong flash hider. You can also run a silencer. So if you want to do that, that's fine. You can have anything you want underneath. So everyone wants to know, can I run a war comp? Or can I do this? Can I have a muzzle brake? You can have all that as long as it's underneath the silencer, and then it never comes off the entire competition. How you check your weapons in is how they have to stay for the whole competition. So if you show up with your rifle has got a flashlight, a PEC, IR, whatever, it's got to stay that way the entire time. If you show up with iron sights, then it has to stay iron sights. You can't throw on something else later. Optics that you can run on a rifle are, you can run something as simple as a red dot, and you can run a red dot magnifier combo, or you can run an LVPO, which stands for low power variable optic. Okay, so basically what it means is that you're starting at 1, so you're gonna have a 1 power optic up to whatever, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, what have you. But you can only have 1 optic on there, so you can't run offset red dot, which is a very common platform that people use for their setups. But for this competition, which is a game, the rules are that you can only have 1 optic. So if you choose to run that optic, you can't have an offset optic as well. It's just going to be, you don't have to have irons. That's something else that you don't need anymore. For pistol, there are separate divisions. So this being 2021, there's an intermediate optics division, which is going away for 2022. However, in 2022, you are going to have the tactical division. The tactical division is going to have the division where you can still run a dot on your pistol. So all the other divisions, you cannot run a dot on your pistol. All the other divisions is basically iron sights stock. So if you want to run a dot, then the tactical division is basically going to be your game. Sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. That's kind of the rule aspect of what the tactical games is. What can you expect? So my background, so I was in the Marines for 8 years. I'm a first responder now. Do you have to have any kind of military or law enforcement or secret squirrel experience before you come to the tactical games? Absolutely not. The most winningest person at the tactical games was landscaper. So he's probably the most badass landscaper you've ever met in your life, but there you go. I've met people from all walks of life. Have I met people that are in the military and law enforcement? 100%. Have I also met people that are in real estate? Have I met people that are pharmacists? Have I met people that are doctors? Have I met people that are just all walks of life? So you don't have to be X to come to the tactical games. You just have to be able to be safe with a firearm, be competent with it, know the safety rules that are associated with firearms, and want to be around some really fun, competitive, friendly people. There's really no prerequisites other than you are safe with firearms. So obviously that's paramount. This is a game. This is a competition. So at the end of the day, we all want to go home. We all want to be safe. We all want to have a good time. So safety is always going to be paramount over everything. What the tactical games is not. It's not an ego contest. It's not something that people are going to go out and beat their chest about. It's not something that takes away from the shooting community what the shooting community really should be. You know, there's no toxicity there. There's nobody there saying, you know, not helping you because you're new or you don't, I don't know, you don't shoot the discipline that I shoot, so I'm not helping you or whatever. What I can tell you is that it's some of the nicest people you ever meet in your life. If you show up and you didn't have anything and you say, hey, I came here to check it out, but I'd really like to shoot this. There's been a few people that have done that. I guarantee you people would say, hey, you know, obviously you gotta pay to get in and compete, but people would say, hey, I'll let you borrow, I have some extra stuff, here you go. Their sponsor is Ballistic Advantage. I know for a fact that they have a certain amount of rifles that are there as loaners. One, if someone's equipment fails or has some sort of failure during the competition, or if somebody wants to compete and doesn't have it. We have people that come from out of the country and they're not allowed to have the items that we have because they don't have the freedoms we have. So that's there for them to come and use. Handguns, you would easily find somebody that would be more than willing to allow you to use an extra gun or use theirs. I mean, I'd be willing to bet. I didn't know what to expect when I came to my first competition in 2019. Coming from the military background, and I had been out of the military for quite some time, almost, 10, 11 years. So I've been out of the game for quite some time. I mean, I've been shooting up to that point, but I expected I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if there was gonna be some guys there that were just gonna be dicks, or if they were gonna be nice or whatever. I was in the intermediate division and I met some really cool people, and I remember talking to one guy. He's currently in the Army, and he was sitting there and he goes, hey, how you doing? And I was like, I'm doing good. How are you? And he's like, we were both, a little nervous. And then afterwards, getting to talk to people, you realize that everyone's just normal people. Everyone's there is just there to have a good time. Yes, we're competitive. Yes, we want to beat each other. But at the same time, we're helping each other do the best they can that weekend. There's not many places that'll do that. 100% there's people who are telling you how to beat their current score just so you can be a better person, be a better competitor, and everyone has a good time. There's not many places that'll do that. It can be overwhelming because the events are getting really, really big now. So if people aren't talking to you, it might be because they're nervous too. So you might want to reach out to them and say, hey, I'm Nathan. Nice to meet you. You know, this is my first time being here. You know, have you done these before? Or, you know, what's going on? And honestly, that's me. I'll go up to anybody and be like, hey, I'm a newbie. Like, I did it too. I said, hey, how's everybody going? You know, let's have fun. I'm like, all right. So don't be intimidated by the people. You know, the physicality sometimes intimidates people, and the shooting sometimes intimidates people. So, but overall, it's a really, really good time. So what the shooting entails is it's a 2-gun event. So you're gonna have a rifle and you're gonna have a pistol, and it's gonna be a mixture of the two. What should you be doing to prepare for the tactical games? The easiest answer, the most cookie cutter answer is go do CrossFit. And what that means is that you should be varying your workouts. If all you're doing is bodybuilding workouts, you're gonna be super strong. You're gonna be able to move weight really well. Your cardio might suffer. So you have to balance that. And so when I say CrossFit type exercises, really that means well balanced. Because in my mind, that's what CrossFit is. You're gonna have a good balance across the board, from cardio to weightlifting to gymnastic type stuff, which we don't do a lot of gymnastic type stuff in the tactical games, but what that gymnastic type movements will give you is body awareness, and it'll also give you mobility, flexibility, and it'll help you overall. You should be running. You should be weightlifting being squatting, benching, cleaning, Olympic style lifting. You should be doing odd object lifting. So that's going to be Atlas stones or Atlas bags, or something that's look up odd object strongman type lifting, Husful stones, yokes, things of that nature. Rucking. So in the Marines, we didn't call it rucking, we called it humping. But basically it's the same thing. You're basically putting a pack on your back and you are going a certain amount of distance, and you have a certain time to finish, right? So look up rucking, and I'm sure you'll find plenty of information on it. If you have any questions, obviously you can ask, and we'll give you greater detail. And that goes for anything. So if you have any questions, you can just throw it down in the comment section. And if I don't cover something, just ask me and I'll be happy to answer it. So shooting wise, it runs a pretty wide gambit. The shooting is really, and the physicality of the event is really going to be dependent upon the venue. They have unique items at a lot of events. So like at Reveille Peak Ranch, they have an obstacle course. And at, say, GTI, that is a decommissioned nuclear facility. So obviously your unique location there is the buildings. Other places have these wide areas, and so sometimes these areas will allow you to shoot longer distances than others. So I don't think we've shot much further than 400 yet. I'm sure it's not off the table, but on average, you need to plan on shooting anywhere between, I think the closest rifle distance that we would shoot would be maybe 25 to, I think 25 yards. We've shot some rifle, some small targets at rifle, all the way out to, so average, I would say 250, 300. And then you have that occasion where you can go past that. You can, sometimes we'll get out to 400. So at GTI, we shot out to 400. At Sawmill, I think we might have gotten close. We were in the high threes. When we were in JTAC in Florida, I believe we were in the threes. I can't remember. So on average, plan on shooting out to at least 350. but I would know your holds out to 4, and obviously 5, because why not? So pistol shots are typically anywhere from 5 to 7 yards, and we've shot out to 50 yards with pistol that I've competed at. I remember one year at the range complex in North Carolina, all the pistol shots were 50 yards. And so, but usually they're varied. And so they're anywhere between 5 to 7 yards out to 50. So I would know what your pistol's doing in between those distances. And those targets are, as they would say, appropriate for the tactical games. But really what they are is, at 7 yards, you're going to have a pretty small target. Out to 15 yards, we're shooting skinny Sammies or pepper poppers or whatever you want to call them, depending on what your shooting background is, as they call them different things. If you want to condense it down to one thing, the tactical games is a 2-day event, 2-gun, 6-stage with it's going to be a lot of good shooting. It's going to be a lot of physicality, and it's going to be a great time with some of the best people you ever meet in your life. Basically, that's it. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them down below, and I will do my best to answer them. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.